Hi, I'm Bob Lawson with Concord CAN. I'm going to present a recap of Concord's history of sustainability. I believe the first citizen action in Concord to address climate change was back in 2007. A group of citizens led by Bernie Jenkins and Bob Andrews put together a global warming symposium and fair at the high school. These pictures belie the fact that this event attracted nearly 500 Concordians. The organizing group decided to stay together, and Concord CAN was born. In 2009, after the group brought Bill McKibben of 350.org to speak in town, Janet and I joined up. I remember feeling so excited to know that there was actually a movement to join, and a local group, Concord CAN. Later in 2009, we organized a rally as part of the first worldwide climate rally in support of the Copenhagen Climate Conference. It was a rainy day at the Old North Bridge, but we were fired up. Concord's first sustainable coffee was in 2011, with Charlie Parker sharing his carbon footprint of Concord, an inventory of our town's greenhouse gas emissions. Charlie was a member of Concord's Sustainable Energy Committee, known as CSEC. His baseline footprint provided the necessary information for Concord to move forward with goals and solutions. Charlie was also the primary author of the Concord Energy Master Plan. Our town was on its way. CSEC, a town committee, has worked diligently throughout the years, specializing in outreach and education, and often partnering with Concord's municipal light plant. I'll mention a few things that stand out. In 2012, there was the Solar Fair. More recently, in 2017, there was the Cooler Concord Fair, with 10 major exhibits: home weatherization, sustainable yards and gardens, electric heating and cooling, LED lighting, etc. In 2018, CSEC and the light plant partnered for Heat Smart, a 3-town-wide volunteer-led clean heating and cooling initiative to help residents and businesses to move off of fossil fuels. Brad Hubbard Nelson took the lead in Concord, helping people to access installers, find rebates, and financing. But let's get back into some rough chronological order. In 2011, one of Concord CAN's most important accomplishments was when our past chairperson, Hasso Ewing, brought an article before town meeting asking the town to adopt a set of sustainability principles. These principles were modeled after the natural step created by Dr. Karl Heinrich Robert in Sweden. They call on us to do the following: reduce dependence upon fossil fuels, underground metals, and minerals. Reduce dependence upon synthetic chemicals. Reduce encroachment upon nature. And meet human needs fairly and efficiently. To this day, these 4 principles guide us. Subsequently, we hired Sarah James, author of The Natural Step for Communities, for full-day training sessions with our town department heads on how to apply these principles in their work. Probably Concord CAN's primary function over the years has been to bring our sustainability community together at our monthly sustainable coffees, where we learn from each other on a myriad of topics. For instance, Sharon McGregor and Lori Pizarras presented their ideas on nature-based solutions to climate change. Each is very active, trying to bring more attention to this important aspect of mitigation. Lori got a resolution passed at town meeting to further the cause. At another coffee, Mark Hansen informed us about the collapse of pollinator species, which in turn is reducing the diversity of native plants. He is currently the chair of the Pollinator Health Advisory Committee, and in 2021 got an article passed at town meeting that any new lease agreements for agricultural use on town-owned land will prohibit the use of neonics. Across town there is another monthly gathering, the popular Conservation Coffees, held by Delia Kay, the town's Director of Natural Resources. In 2013, the Climate Solutions Speaker Series was started for auditorium-sized audiences and brought major speakers 3 or 4 times a year. It was organized by Concord CAN, the League of Women Voters, Musketequid Arts and Environment, Mothers Out Front, the Concord Public Schools, and several houses of worship. Also, in 2013, Concord's ban on single-serve plastic water bottles was the first such ban anywhere in the world. It took 3 years for Jean Hill and Jill Appel to get this one through town meeting, and then it was re-challenged in 2 subsequent years. But it stands today, and our town made history. Garrett asked me to include a photo of my sculpture of a kitchen faucet made from 1,500 plastic bottles, the number that are consumed in the United States every second. With the ban, a good deal of follow-up was required to make a smooth transition, especially in a town with so many visitors. Concord on Tap was created, and here we see Janet Rothrock, Barbara Nicholson, and Melissa Simoncini of the Water Department in their efforts to obtain funding and plan the installation in what are now 15 hydration stations throughout the town. In 2014, my wife Janet Lawson brought a fossil fuel divestment article to town meeting, and it passed, even though it was largely symbolic because the management of Concord's pension funds are not in the town's control. The point was made, and it was noticed. Statewide divestment is still being pursued. In 2015, Scott Richardson successfully persuaded town meeting to enact a bylaw which bans the use of thin film, single-use checkout bags at Concord retail and grocery stores. Seeing that he had a knack for this kind of thing, Scott came back the next year with a bylaw which bans polystyrene in food service establishments. He then followed up with a program to inform those establishments about alternative products. In 2016, Booja Cookman organized a house party to launch a Concord chapter of Mothers Out Front. This dynamic group laid the foundation for what I think is the most significant step forward in Concord sustainability ever, the passage of Article 51 at town meeting in 2017. Mothers Out Front got the ball rolling, then deftly passed it off to the Select Board while working right alongside. A committee was then formed to create the framework for a new energy plan for the town. Chaired by Pam Hill, the Energy Future Task Force did outstanding work and set ambitious goals for reducing emissions in Concord. Article 51 calls for 80% carbon emissions reduction by 2050, and it charges our municipal power plant to provide 100% carbon-free electricity by 2030. And it establishes Concord's Sustainability Division and the position of Director of Sustainability. The first director was Kate Hanley, and in late 2021, her successor came on board, Amanda Cohn. Concord created the Climate Action Resilience Plan, a comprehensive roadmap for the next 5 years. It commits to 22 actions and includes detailed implementation ideas covering energy, buildings, transportation, natural resources, and preparedness. In 2020, Concord launched Your Sustainable Home Now, a detailed and valuable resource for homeowners to get on board with sustainable methods for heating and cooling, appliances, water, lawns and gardens, weatherization, reduce and reuse, and the like. An informal group in town that meets occasionally at the Trails End Cafe calls itself Carbon Free Concord. It's a sort of think tank, I am told. And several big things have originated with this group. In 2019, when an article came before town meeting calling for the design study for the new middle school, Carbon Free Concord, through Brad Hubbard Nelson, brought forth and passed an amendment that calls for an all-electric, net zero ready school, which will be 5 times more efficient than our existing schools. This same group developed an idea for a 2020 article, No GAS Hookups for New Construction in Concord. In the capable hands of Alice Kaufman, it passed town meeting and now awaits approval of our home rule petition in order to go into effect. I certainly can't mention everything that's going on here in Concord, and I apologize for things I've left out, but just a few more things before I go. Our recent honored citizen, Elise Woodward, has done so much over the years. Most recently, she co-chaired the committee that wrote Envision Concord, Bridge to 2030, a comprehensive long-range plan. This is an important document that stays true to our sustainability principles. She went on to chair the Sustainability Committee formed by the Concord Free Library. Charged with creating a climate plan for both libraries, it certainly had a huge impact on the design of the beautiful new library extension. Let's not forget the League of Women Voters, which has given significant support for major sustainability articles in town. this group does have a significant impact on voters. I also think back to Bev Ridpath and Lori Pizarris, who made us all so aware of the pitfalls of artificial turf playing fields. And recently, Concord hosted a sustainable landscaping fair. Mothers Out Front remains ever active. Remember the project of tagging gas leaks in our town? And again, Mr. Hubbard Nelson created a nonprofit called Mass Energize, which works with all kinds of communities, churches, schools, neighborhoods, towns. One of its core services is an interactive web platform to promote and track a community's climate actions and accomplishments. Finally, many of us have worked under the direction of Fred Sir and the Public Works Department to pull off the semi-annual drop-off swap-off. Our citizens have accomplished so much, and our municipal government is clearly enlightened and dedicated. We are all working together, and we are so fortunate to live in this community. Here he is, the first radical environmentalist. I think he would be proud of what we have all been doing in his hometown, although maybe not. His standards are extremely high. But I think we're good. Keep it up, everybody. Shine on.